in 2008. It was defeated by the permit owners because they had a lot more money. They outspent us. They had a lawyer. And I was the president of the Anchorage Cab Drivers Association back then. And we tried to fight them, but we couldn't. We wanted deregulation, but we did not want total deregulation. That was a lie. They hired someone, an ad man from Seattle, to have a guy go in a pickup truck out to the airport and pick up a woman and throw her bag in the back end of a truck. That's not what we wanted. There's been too many people, loved ones, family members that were cab drivers that were killed back in the 1980s. And I survived that. A lot of us drivers survived that. We know how scared we were from these people that were robbing cabs over the price of a pizza. And they shot executionary style a woman that drove a cab from the base. She was a mother. And what I'd like to also say, I support deregulation, but not total deregulation. I know we have to have a TI. We have to have the Transportation Commission. We do not want chaos. We do not want interfighting. Uber and Lyft would be glad to see that. I do not want to see that. I have worked too hard. I am a woman, and I am targeted a lot. This is a man's industry, and it has not been easy. I have been blackballed by some of the permit owners. I try to get along with them, and sometimes it's very hard. But I know that I chose this profession. I know that. And what I'd also like to say is that the Uber drivers are not very friendly towards the cab drivers. A woman that was driving a black pickup truck, she splashed me because she sped up. And then she started laughing after she did this on purpose. They do things on purpose to us.
Your time is up. Can you conclude?
Okay, yes. This is my mother, and she'd like to speak.
Okay.
Yeah, as my daughter said, we all know, everyone sitting in this room, that being a cab driver is one of the most dangerous professions, especially in a big city like here. Especially in a big city like here. It's so dangerous. And my daughter works pretty hard, and she's always worked, got money stolen from her and all that, and she puts up with a lot of rude people, bad people and everything, but she is has been able to survive it. And I think that I would hope that the Assembly would have regulations that would really help the cab drivers, because she has to work 12 hours a day and then pay the lease owners about $100, then gas up the car again, and then she ends up with maybe $40 or $50 some days, because you can't make much money in 8 to 10 hours. Thank you for listening to me tonight, and I hope that you will make some good decisions about it. And like I said, it's not an easy profession. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome, sir.
Hi, I'm Mustafa Kadriou. I drive a cab for 23 years. I'm against deregulation because if we have deregulation, who's going to look for those drivers around? What are they doing? Even now, there's no TI looking those cabs. If one of you guys want to see how the cabs they are in the street, with probably no bumper, some of them. Who's looking those cabs? We got nobody looking the cabs. The paint is gone, the number is missing. I like to ask Woodlington, he's saying deregulation. Why deregulation because the company going to be in charge of the cabs, owners or the drivers. What about the insurance? I pay $5,000 a year, over. Probably some of them pay more. Are you going to have that on too if we deregulate? Are we going to pay the city $1,432? No. How about the safety for the people? They get in the cab with no insurance. Who's going to check if my driver license it's expired? Do I have it or no? I'd like to know who's going to check those. And you want to put deregulation? You want to put more cabs on the street? There's plenty of cabs. We have no parking. We have to fight with Uber and Lyft. They want to fight me at the 4th Avenue. There's a stand, it's right there. It's saying cabs only. He said, what do you want? I'm not going to move anywhere. So I have to move on. I'm not going to, what I'm going to do? So nobody look, Uber and Lyft, what are they doing in the street? So now you have another 1,000 cabs on the street. And who's going to look? Nobody. I'm against deregulation because look like now it seems we have nobody who's looking the cabs, the way they driving around with, probably some of them have no driver license. Nobody checked them. Nobody at the office. Call TI's office. Nobody answering. I have a customer, he say wants to complain. Who? Who's going to answer the phone? Nobody. I want more tough to be a cab driver, more safety. I never thought I'll see this in Anchorage, 26 years. I want to make it tough to be a cab driver. Customers love the cab drivers. When he gets in the cab, knows where he's going, not to look on the phone, what's the address. So it was good in 90s, 80s, but now anybody can drive a cab.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Dave O'Malley. And with budget cuts looming and the talk of taxes, the municipality can no longer justify Title 11 in the Office of the Transportation Inspector. I believe that's what this ordinance is about, mainly municipality washing the hands of the industry, and it's about time. The transportation, the budget, operating budget for the Transportation Office for 2018 was over $600,000. This for a department that is virtually obsolete. For to say they even enforce the regulations is a joke. It really serves no purpose. And when you compare it to the competition, Uber and Lyft does their own hiring, firing, their own background checks, their own inspections, customer service at zero expense to the taxpayers. What I'm trying to say is competition and choice will regulate the industry. Any safety or other requirements should be left up to the companies to enforce. With one last vote, the Assembly can finally free itself from the annoying, time-consuming bother of trying to regulate and pacify the industry. I hope something gets going here, definitely before Assemblyman Croft leaves office, to get things going in the right direction, make progress, and eliminate Title 11. Because it serves no purpose and unnecessary waste that should be looked into. Thank you.
Mr. Weddleton, did you have a question?
Sorry, Mr. O'Malley. So how many months would it take for the industry to re-sort itself out so that there could be one or two companies that set their own standards and could market themselves that way?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. You could say with... I actually am trying to do that right now through the Transportation Commission. My first step was really Assemblywoman Osiander actually was trying to get Title 11 changed to eliminate the Transportation Commission. And that would be the first good step, and put most of the requirements onto the Assembly and have the intern transportation inspector month by month, eliminate what needs to be eliminated until it's gone. That's what I was hoping would happen last year with Assemblyman Dunbar when he was eliminating, making it easier. And then one little remark from Assemblyman Constant, which was very harmless, put everything off for a year. It was a complete waste of time, was what's been going on for the last year, and things could have gotten done. It could have been solved by now. And instead, we are where we're at. So it wouldn't be much. It would just be somebody who knows the regulations. One time, you don't need this now. We don't need this. Let's get rid of this 1 month at a time. Come here, just get it through. And it'll be gone probably within 5 months.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Hi, my name is Iyayu Asnako. I drive the cab since 2004. The speech, whatever they speak about, you hear them, they defending themselves, defending their business, not they defending the drivers. So I drove 2 months without dispatch with other cab. It's better than pay the dispatch. Go in hotel, Walmart, airports. So paying dispatch right now by drivers, we have to pay $3,000 a month. Dispatch, insurance, you name it. We can't afford it. They're talking about the new drivers' business they're going to lose, but the dispatch by themselves, they caring for themselves. They didn't put the price even down when the business get in crisis. So driver is suffering right now. So it need to be regulated. Of course, we need a permit to drive to feed our kid. Why we paying commercial insurance? Why we pay high cost dispatch fee? Because they don't care even the customers. I used to support them 15 years. I used to bring to them money 15 years, working 12, 11 hours. But now the situation is not like that. They're not drivers. But some drivers, they own permit, they think they're going to lose the business. What they're going to do? What do we have to do? This is nothing to do with anything to dispatch. We're not going to lose it because there is no dispatch. We're not going to lose business. Or we can change better price some dispatch company. So the safety they're talking about, camera, whatever, I have a camera in my car. I have a camera in my house. To take care of my customer, for myself, for safety, I carry camera. That's safety. They're not going to tell, the dispatch not going to tell me about my safety, about my customer safety, who's going to comply. Of course, we need the TI for compliant take care. But we can't afford to pay dispatch, insurance, and the other fees. Painting cars. We regulate it, we control it, but other businesses are running. Uber and Lyft, they're doing great business.
Thank you, sir.
You.
I know that I already testified. I just wanted to respond to Mr. Weddleton, to Assemblyman Weddleton's question. Is that?
No.
I can't respond to his
No.
question?
He can call you up later if he wants to get an answer to that question. Ms. LaFrance?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually had a quick question for the previous speaker. I just wanted to know if he was for or against the proposed repeal of the regulations. Are you for or against? I'm sorry.
I support regulating.
This ordinance?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Well, wait a minute. You like regulation or you like this that would deregulate it? This ordinance would deregulate. Do you want to have regulations or have this ordinance that gets rid of regulations?
right off of the regulation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you get his name spelled? No, can you spell your name for us?
My first name is Eyayu. My last name is Asnakew.
Got it. Thank you. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're running short on time. We have other items we need to get done tonight. I think we should have one more testifier and call this a night. Thank you.
Well, these guys have waited for a long, long time, and we have the alcohol ones that I talked about, the lease that the ACDA was here, Mr. Halker was here for. The fire chief has left, but IAFF's agreement that we had a work session on, as well as Mr. Trainey's bill, and the tobacco people left. I mean, I think we're stuck with a meeting tomorrow anyway. We've got 5 or 6 licenses, many of which have to happen before the 9th, and then 3 or 4 major ordinances.
Your chairman, sir, I'm willing to be here tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we have to. So I'd just as soon see how far we could get and to the end. But people have waited for 6 hours to testify. I don't think we should shut them down. Sir, welcome.
Good evening. My name's Robert Ransom, R-A-N-S-O-M. I've been in the taxi industry for over 35 years. Started in 1980. I agree with what Jim said about Title 11. It's involved into a monstrous government oversight. I don't even know what's in half of the thing. I never did get a copy since it's been rewritten. Mr. Musa said it was off in Florida or something. But I'd like to change the tone of this. We want to be on a level playing field with Uber. We don't want to be deregulated. We want to self-regulate like they do. Why call it deregulation? Like Tim said, if you're a competent owner and operator, you'll maintain your car. You'll have a camera for safety. I had fake cameras in my car before the prices came down. I had the internet cameras, and I said, yeah, it's working, for my own safety. That's just the way, you should operate, on the right way. Now, some of the title has been rewritten that there isn't any drug testing when you renew. You don't have a DOT physical. You don't have to go to training, and you can work as many hours. Some of these guys are working 16 hours. I can't do that. I'm 67 years old. I'm lucky to be out there 10 hours at a max. But I think self-regulation is the term we really should be addressing. Just like Uber, they self-regulate, and that's what we're going to do. If you want to put in some regulations so they have a camera, but I take exception to the comments about rape and murder. I mean, that happens in all industries. You have police officers, priests. I don't know when the last time a cab driver murdered anybody. I mean, it's happened, I know, but it's not a thing that happens on any kind of regular basis. Mr. Wellington, when we had those protests, he said he was going to look into this deregulation. I haven't heard anything else about it, But the cost of the dispatch, $800 a month, $950 a month, is a big burden. And self-regulating, if somebody wants to go out there and not do that and just go sit at the airport and work the airport or just get personals, that should be their prerogative. The way this industry is now, the drivers are making about 30-40% of what they used to make with the competition of Uber. And the way you wrote this Title 11, the next 2 years, another 40 cabs, and then after that, it's going to be open anyway. Anyone can walk in there for $1,400 and get a permit after the next 2 years. So that's pretty much opened it up anyway. So why not self-regulate? We don't need the government oversight. This Title 11 is just crazy.
Mr. Peterson had a question. Sorry. Oh, okay. Didn't have a question. Thank you for your testimony, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Alfonso Martinez. I am check cab driver for many, many years right now. Don't make a sense to me say to you the year, guys. because really I think about this, not any more respect about it. You create all this situation when coming Uber and Lyft here to town. Right now, what is the point to we have a regulations? When I put to you one of the sample, I tell every day to my coworker. Few weeks ago, one of my sample, because I have only 3 minutes, for you understand what it means the regulation right now, for who work. Few weeks ago, I parking in downtown, okay, because right now I work in 15 hours. I work in day, night, I don't have a life. And then I parking in downtown, coming 5 people. I had the sedan. These 5 people coming, what I can do for this regulation, and he reject. I say to the people, no, I'm sorry, I can carry 5 because I have a sedan. What did the guy say behind me? No worry, man, we take a one Uber. Picky, picky, picky. I wait in like 15, 20 minutes, right there, coming the Uber, 5 people coming inside the sedan. How I feel the industry about regulation. Technically, right now, regulation is only for who? For us, for the cab driver, when we need to pay a lot of money for too many things. We pay to you guys. We do too many things for follow regulation for, you see guys, 20, 30, 15 years driving, follow rule, follow regulation for what? I'm sorry I say this one right now to you guys. The last time, I picked up 5 people in my cab because I can lose another $50, $60 fare. I didn't. I'm sorry. But you put to us to not follow any more rules, you don't follow any more nothing. Why we need regulation? For who? For us only? It's about Uber, Lyft. They're doing whatever. I saw they put kids, babies, inside the car without booster, without nothing. I carry 2 boosters. I carry baby seat, everything to follow rules. This is my point about this one. Right now, about owners, about going to lose money or whatever, I don't know. I think about right now like a driver, because we're suffering. Okay? I owe money right now because I'm driving for many, many years. All this situation put me behind to too many things. Sometimes I need waiting 45 minutes for one trip. It sometimes happens this case, like say coming 5 people or whatever, we can say, no, because I have a regulation. We have a Title 11. I can do that one. This is one of my points right now, really. The another thing about what's going to happen with the permit, all these things, this is something you create, and you need going to find the solution with the all owners.
And your name is Alfonso Martinez?
Yeah, Alfonso Martinez, check a cab driver.
Thank you. Mr. Trainee, did you have a question?
Just to clarify, we're not the ones that let Uber and Lyft into Anchorage. The state was.
Well, it's state plus.
It's a problem out there for you, but we're not the ones that let them in here. The state took it away from us. They do it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Further public testimony.
Good evening. My name is Rafael Barbosa. I have been in this business forever. And obviously, it is pretty obvious that with the present ordinance that we're operating under, we're deregulated. We're not regulated. We're both. We're operating under both rules because we're only, about 2 years down the road, everybody's going to be able to get permits. You know, we're on a slow, we have been subject to a very slow, painful death. That's what we're under. And I've been looking for the last couple of years, trying to find the right guy that gets this point. This, with this administration, I have yet to find the person that can tell me why can we put a cap on this issuance of permits to stop the bleeding. Because we're bleeding slowly, and no one is willing to help to stop the bleeding. The argument before was that we were operating under a monopoly, and Mr. Bill Evans obviously took care of that, broke the monopoly that we didn't create. It was created by the city. And it was working just fine, If they could have issued permits at that time when there was this urgency for more permits, but they went a different route. You know, they completely axed the industry, and nobody's doing any fixing to that. Now we got another monopoly, dispatch companies. You know, that's a monopoly. The income is slowly becoming less and less and less and less, and nobody is talking about that. We have to pay $950 a month, and on top of that, we have to pay for insurance. Each and every one of us is subject to a different price, depending on your driving record or history in the business. Some of us are paying, I'm paying myself almost $8,000. Where am I going to get the money from? We got competition. We got Uber and Lyft. And yeah, they're hurting us big time. And we all understand very clearly that that's not your fault. It's the state fault. Okay? Okay, so if we cannot take control over Uber, I know that someone in this assembly body can put a little bit of control to our situation. I really do believe that. Do you guys want to do that? I don't know. That's a question that I have been asking myself, to the whole administration, and we're not finding that kind of help. So destroy us now. Why bleed? Why have us subject to this situation? If it's only going to end up, you know, within 2 years, time flies. Or stop this bleeding, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Spot on time. Can you? And you've testified before, but can you give me your name again and spell the last name?
I'm sorry, Mr. Kraft.
Can you spell your name for the clerk?
Yes, yeah. Rafael, R-A-F-A-E-L, Barbosa, B-A-R-B-O-S-A.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, certainly.
Mr. Barbosa, do you support the repeal of Title 11 or not?
Let me say something. I'm very hard of hearing, so you can.
I'm sorry. Do you support the repeal of Title 11 or not?
We were trying to figure it out as well.
I'm like in both, you know, I do and I don't. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Hi, my name is, last name is Lee, first name is W-E-O-N. I used to be driving cab 1988 to 1998, and then I was trying to buy the permit. It was a high price. I couldn't buy, and I moved below 48. And then my friend told me the city auctioned the permit, low price. That's why I moved last year from the Texas to the Anchorage. I bought the permit. I auctioned to $7,014 paper. I owed $20,000 for money from I owed my sister, and then my age is 65. I trying to get the job, hard to get the job, so I invest buying the job, $30,000, $7,000 permit, and then buy the car, and then buy the $6,500 insurance. I bought the job for invest the $30,000, and now I make a 12-hour working. Honestly, I book about $200, $180 to $200. I pay the dispatch $950, $6,500 for insurance, maintenance, and gasoline $30. So 12-hour working, I took home $100. But I'm very happy I'm working because I'm working better than working somebody else. But right now, 250 cab in Anchorage. If issue the more permit, it's going to hurt the business, industrial, cab industry, because Uber and then some app company, they took a 30 to 40% the business. Right now, 70% we share the old cab driver. And some people, driving daytime, some people driving nighttime is shared. But if open the regular permit, it's going to be all single shift. And I don't know how much you're going to lose the business, but I'm worried about that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Further public testimony? Anybody at all? If not, we'll close public testimony on this matter. So public testimony is closed. We can, well, if we have another version of this. Oh, welcome, sir. Yeah, all right. So public testimony is not closed. If there's a version of this that is substantially different, as regulation light would be, then people can testify on that as well. So we'll reopen it if that's the case. If it's just this same proposal again, then we've had the public testimony on it. Welcome, sir.
We know. Has anything been put forth? We can't just, because last time we were told to testify and then we were not allowed.
Mr. Chair, the speaker could come up and take his time since we reopened public hearing, but at this time we have someone that's standing in front of the queue.
Yes, Mr. Constant.
Okay. My name is Rocky Park, R-O-C-K-Y, Park, P-A-R-K. I drive cab for 33 years in America. I started driving cab in Hawaii in 1985. When I had a taxi driver license, I learned about taxi definition. Taxi can stop anytime, any place, but I didn't find it in the Title 11 in Anchorage. But I always stopped anytime, any place. I was thinking it was a grandfather's rule. And sometimes people don't like it. I smile, sometimes I finger too. I wrote a movie script while I was driving cab. I invented so many ideas, and I tried to make a movie too, but I failed in business. But in that time, I really loved driving cab. One thing I did was, most American people watch the movie Forrest Gump. I watched maybe more than 30 times with some kind of purpose because I wanted to study how to make a movie. Maybe it gave me a trigger. I challenged it 7 years. Every single customers, not exemption, okay, I success. I never lie. 7 years, I made a comedy, make my customer laughing in my car. It's a miracle to me, Some reason I stopped. I was very busy, something else to do. I grant Title 11 yes and no, okay? Mm-hmm. But one reason I say we need a Title 11 because this is not fair competition. When Uber first came, my customer asked me, why you don't go to Uber? I never owned the taxi permit, right? 20 years I drive the cab. 1 year, 3 months, I'm permit owner. I'm enough, okay? When I buy permit, maybe one or 2 years, anytime I can stop. Do I have a time?
You can wrap up now if you would, sir.
Customer asking me, why don't you go Uber? I said, I want to finish taxi.
Thank you, sir.
Can I couldn't, most important part is about.
Just
30
very
seconds.
briefly, what's the most important part?
Uber, my customers nowadays, when first time Uber came in, customers, they asked me, go to Uber, okay?
Yeah.
But now, they say they don't like Uber because they charge it 3 times, 4 times, or doubled. They don't like it.
Gotcha.
They will be fair, but
Thank you, sir.
afraid, they want to tax you down, that's why.
You've reached
They
your
want to
time limit. Thank you, sir.
Title 11.
Yeah, sorry. My name is Arben Lina. I've been a taxi operator and driver for about 26 years. And sorry I spoke out of there, but Mr. Chair, I'm wondering, so is this public testimony going to stop now? You said 30 minutes and we were going to continue. So you talk about the S version, so I'd like to find out if I will be allowed to speak if we continue, or we're going to put a vote on this tonight. So that was my concern, because we're only following your direction here. So,
I think, it's a good point. We'll continue public testimony.
so, but anyway, since I'm here, I'd like to say that I'm totally opposed I'm against this. The reason being is safety component is one of it. So now I hear 2 camps here. One wants a watered down version. The bleeding is still occurring because in 2 years the acts, that has been referenced. But I'd like to also comment on something I read on the paper. I've been gone for about 3 weeks. I was down in Seattle, but I read on the paper yesterday, Mr. Whittleton, you, Mr. Croft, and Bill Evans, they stated that, there should be some regulation. Well, we can't have both. If we're going to compete properly with Uber and Lyft, now that they're operating out here, we can't be burdened with all this cost. So some of these operators are paying in excess of $8,000 per car. As Rafael mentioned $8,000, but he didn't mention that's per car. Imagine 4 cars, that's $36,000. And you have no drivers, and the drivers that are driving now, they're paying half of the lease because they're not making the money. So now, who's going to be in charge if we totally get deregulated? Well, let's find somebody else. Why should the city regulate? It is important for the city to regulate, in my opinion, for the safety aspect. If you allow us to operate on our own recognizance, if you think the meth, and I was on one of your meetings in the Turnagain Community Council, which I've had nothing but problems, 10, 15 calls to the city, APD showing up there, nothing is being done. If you think that the cabs don't need regulation, well, I got news for you. Crime will increase drastically. And so for me, the safety component cannot be ignored by this body here. And Mr. Whittleton, if you want deregulation, well, do it totally. No company should be allowed to become the czar from Eric Muzzer. Now we put the onus on the company. You should not trust the welfare of the public of this city. With dwindling revenue from the state, no money coming here. And, Bill Evans and Chairman Dunbar at the time, stated, nope, we're not going to stop the bleeding. Let the free market roll. Well, if we want that, 100% get rid of it. Vote on it tonight. Get rid of completely Title 11.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Yes, my name is Negata Desa. I've been driving a cab in Anchorage 6 years. Also, I've been driving a cab in Atlanta about 4 years. When Uber first came in Atlanta, I was there. And what happened is when Uber come there, Atlanta, they regulated the cab regulation. They rid it off. And we've been doing okay. But when I moved here, I drive in 6 years. The high dispatch, $950 or $800. High insurance, $600 a month. That's $6,000 a year. And I leased a cab last year, and the maintenance is very costly. And they talk about the safety. Did Uber have a camera? They don't. We already have it. But I support deregulation. And I don't hear anybody mentioning the shuttle. The shuttle's taken our business anyway. The Uber's taken our business anyway. But we paying the high cost. Why I don't get my own card, my permit to support my family? So I need to regulate it. I support this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else who would like to testify? Anyone at all?
What we're going to do with 4 new faces up there, if it comes to a vote, we haven't heard any.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for anybody to come up with public testimony. So, Mr. Dunbar, were you going to make a motion to continue public testimony earlier?
No, I don't think so.
I would move to approve and urge no vote. Is there a second?
I haven't closed public testimony yet, Mr. Constant.
All right, yeah, I'll make a motion to continue public testimony until when? You want April 9th?
Yes.
April 9th.
Second.
No, tomorrow we've got to do all our other
I
work.
thought you hadn't closed public testimony.
That's why I'm making a motion to continue public testimony until April 9th.
Gotcha, okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Would you like a vote, or is there any objection to moving that? We'll continue public testimony till April 9th. Thank you for waiting so long. This matter will be heard then.
Oh, yeah.